order. Can we have a motion to approve our agenda, please?
I'll make that motion to approve the short agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Mr. J.D. Kane, it's your turn, sir.
Good morning. It's a fine day in Beach County.
Yes, sir.
I sent out the engineer update and
Send us all kinds of stuff. Send us all kinds of neat stuff. I might pass it over.
Thank you.
I
was gonna save him a few steps,
He likes the exercise.
evidently.
we're hauling rock with a reduced number of trucks. Cause it's getting late in the calendar. Need an opportunity to tie this rock back down. Our pipe crew's working on J53, relaying some concrete pipe there. This will be the second day. And I have the spray patchers working on J64, patching in a stretch of the concrete pavement there that's failed compared to the rest of the road. We are pulling a magnet up in the northwest part of the county, and their crew's doing cleanup around the guardrail. I saw most of the blade operators, all but two, in at the shop this morning. They're doing various things in the district, doing some tree trimming, anticipating the large farm equipment and plow trucks with boxes up in the air during the winter. Our shop is also prepping for winter maintenance operations with our trucks. Winter maintenance is coming. They were working on 45, trying to get the strobes working yesterday afternoon. They think they found the fault. We have a John Deere motor grader coming in for a demo tomorrow afternoon. The salesman and tech will be there Thursday, and our guys will be there they'll have it for a couple days. It's an all-wheel drive machine, similar to what we would spec from the John Deere side. And we also have we hooked we redid our fuel siphon, and well, it's not really siphon, our fuel pump that we suck water out of the bottom of tanks with. We'll be going around to all the tanks, do a little maintenance there. As is the case these last several months, our focus is on EWP and the engineering side. There's an agenda item that speaks to that. We'll get to that a bit later, but the report is Project 5, which is one of the smaller projects, sites 11, 7, and number 6. And we have final vouchers on 2 of those sites for Project 5. Those are complete. ESB out in Red Oak did a fine job on those. Swift completions, of course, they were smaller. Project number 2 is one of our larger projects, and they are continuing work on site 2. Site 1 is done. The west tark and then the middle tark is what they're working on now, and I have not seen the tarkios in such a low flow condition since I've been in the county. So this is certainly an opportune year to work on weir repair. Of course, this is a leftover from the flood of 2019. NRCS worked with us and got the county declared and worked on the emergency watershed protection. We let project number 3 last Thursday. We'll get to that on the agenda. but that is the last of the 5 projects that were let. I refreshed my memory, and we have 5 projects which contain 12 different sites, weirs downstream of 12 bridges. The estimate for construction was $4.7 million. Our contract costs for all 5 are $4.1 million. You know, there's overruns and underruns, so that's not a final number, but that's a contract number. They're working on site 5 and site number 4 preparation. Those are both sites down by Coin, and that's project number 1.
JD, if I may, when we're talking about that cost of $4.1 million, remind us about our share of that, the federal dollars.
Certainly, the 4.1 construction cost, 75% of that is federal dollars from the NRCS. 10% of that will come from Hungry Canyons, and then the Page County is responsible for 15%.
Go ahead.
I'll come back to the agenda items and continue with the update. Next month, no, this month, later this month on the 20th of October, the DOT will let the F-20 bridge, which is on J-20, that's a competitive highway bridge project, involves federal money. We'll let that later this month for next year's work. We will not close the road over the winter and tear out the bridge. It's a smaller bridge. It's 100 foot long, 110 foot long. We've purposefully designed it as a single span structure so that we only have to drive foundations on the ends as opposed to the piers. So instead of being in the stream with a couple of piers, we're just working on the ends. So that'd be a design feature that should speed the construction along next summer. I've also turned in a build grant application on the 30th of September. This is a venture of counties across the state. There's an opportunity to collect $25 million. We're going to use that toward the larger bridges that are tough to fund with normal funding. Whether Page County is successful in that endeavor is uncertain, although we do have one of the longer bridges, and we've been in development on that also. So I've advocated that the counties turn in 2 applications, so it'd be 25 million times 2 to the state's limited to 100 million. And of course, we're doing this ahead of the solicitation for grant applications. Probably won't happen until January, but given the nature of the projects, these large bridges takes a year or 2 to develop, so we must start ahead of time, and we've been doing that.
Which bridges are we talking?
This would be the one over the Nishnabotna north of Essex on the pavement there. Heavily trafficked road, bridge built in 49, in poor condition according to the inspection.
That's the one down in north and south.
Correct. Hooks up to AA. It's M41 D Avenue, and then it turns into AA. It's certainly a way to Page County to the grain processors in Council Bluffs, or conversely, farm ground north of Essex, flowing down toward Essex and Shenandoah. Have any questions on the update per se?
Well, I want to go back to the weirs real quick, if I could, congratulate you and the crew. We have a new surveyor that was hired to help with this project. Randy Davis has been instrumental I remember, when we pushed you pretty hard to do all 12 of these weirs, you kind of looked concerned because of the number of expected contractors available and the time frame that we're on for these federal dollars. And weir projects aren't necessarily sexy projects, but they're certainly important. And I'd like you to kind of explain, because I don't think the general public knows what a weir is. Why do we even do weirs, JD?
We do weirs. We could also call them grade control structures. They're located downstream of bridges, and then we can fix the elevation of the stream bed at that location, because our streams are prone to degradation, probably as a result of straightening in years past. So there's severe down cutting in the bottom of the stream. When the bottom of the stream goes down, then the sides will slough in, and then that eats farm ground away. Despite the riparian buffers or the native grasses planted alongside the stream, that'll still slough in when the banks become too steep. So most of these structures were built 20, 25 years ago when our designs perhaps were not fully mature. We have cribs of rock held in by cattle panels, which is rusted away over the years. We have gave-in baskets full of limestone that has freeze-thawed away to nothing, and just wire baskets remain. And we've refined our techniques over the years. The last time we did weir repair, since in my tenure, was 2017. The federal NRCS EWP dollars were not available then. There's a time before that there was EWP work. I don't know details of that, but this is certainly a protection for our bridges, and we need all the help with the bridges we can get. We need to stretch their longevity as best we can.
Well, thank you. And again, thanks to the team, because 12 was a very aggressive year, and because of water levels.
Yeah, it's a fortunate year. Water levels are down, which makes it easier to work in the streams.
But I got two of them below two farms, and I've watched them for years, and they work. And
They say farm ground.
yeah, because you put your dam like 3 foot usually in the
3 or 4 foot, depends.
sea above where the water table was. So then that'll back it up for over a mile, or close to a mile a lot of times from those streams. And then it acts like a dam, and then it won't pass into it. So it definitely helps save the bridges and then keep getting water and cut them out.
Well, again, I remember the flood damage on the weir that we had to repair, and we didn't have the federal dollars. Our out-of-pocket cost for that one weir was $200-some thousand, and we're going to do 12 of these weirs for about that amount of money, a little more. It's incredible. Anyway, thank you.
So the next item on the agenda is signing final vouchers for site number 7 and site 11, which is a part of project 5. I need a motion.
Do I hear a
to that
motion?
end.
I'll make a motion to approve signing the final voucher for those 2 sites, 11 and 7.
And 6 isn't ready yet.
We did 6 last week.
Okay,
That was in the project.
I see it.
Well, no.
All right. I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
That was it. It's not 6 that we did last time. It's some other one.
Oh,
6 is the last one that was complete.
your numbering system came out of southern Missouri. I can't understand it. But I know there's a method to your madness, so I get confused on the numbering. All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve the final voucher, site 7, site 11. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, motion carries. This is the contract for?
No,
Oh,
that's,
oh,
those
okay.
are the final vouchers, unless I sent you those, so you can get the numbers.
Thank you.
Now, if we could direct our attention to the next item on the agenda, a contract award for site number 8, which is project 3. This is of the weir projects we're doing this construction season. This is the only new weir we're constructing. It's last, it's by itself. Because of the permits needed, we have permits from the DNR and the Corps of Engineer that support our construction of this. This is downstream of 160th Street and M Avenue, a relatively new bridge where the piling on the east and the west pier were encased, 4 feet underneath the stream bed. Now, due to stream bed erosion, the bottom of those encasements are exposed. So I got naked pile going on down to rock, which is not a comforting thing as an engineer and manager of bridge systems. So we have raised the grade there 7 feet, a little bit more than the DNR is comfortable with, but they understand our concern. So it's a new construction. We had, unlike the other weir repairs, the completion date for this is 30 June of next year. Had 4 bidders. I would suggest that, or I would speculate that the completion date is part of the reason I have 4 bidders. For the other work, it was to be done this season. The most I ever had was 2. So
I've been watching that the last couple of years. It's just north of me in that mile. And that stream's really gotten funny. There's like an island out in the middle of the stream. Or
Sand silt.
tree root or something.
right.
And then it went on both sides of it. It's gotten really wide.
Right, even in the years since I got here, I've noticed a change in that stream. So this will mitigate that problem. At least it won't get worse.
So do you have those bids again? What date? I saw them on the email when you opened them, but.
Right, the low bid was from PCI out of Rhinebeck.
Okay. And what was that number and what was the engineer's estimate on this project?
The engineer's estimate on this is $411,000. The cost of the bid was $323,798.75.
Okay. And PCI out of Rhinebeck, we've had work done with them before, have we not?
I think so, not while I'm here, but they're a big company that does lots of work all over the state. I see their trucks up in Council Bluffs.
Yeah.
They're doing weir repair for Montgomery County. So they're in the neighborhood. They've done weir repair in Adams or Adair County already this season.
Okay.
I've seen their trucks, but I don't know if they've done any work. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
When I was
I've seen
in-
their trucks a lot, that's why I wondered.
When I was in Fayette County, they did a shouldering work for some dirt.
Hey, I'd make a motion to award the contract to PCI.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Side A,
Pardon me?
on side A.
Oh, okay. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries unanimously.
Yeah.
So June 30 was the completion date, correct? 2021. Right. Okay. Thank you. All day long? Okay. Even at Southern. I shouldn't say that, should I?
I got an uncle in Warsaw I should probably visit. So I guess that's almost southern Missouri.
Yeah, I'd say it's close enough to call Southern Missouri. All right, anything else on, yes, we've got the Rich Wagner letter that was sent to all three of us, all four of us. And why don't you bring the room up to date on what we're talking about here, JD?
The board forwarded me an email from Mr. Wagner having some concerns about a petition road done on Quince Avenue north of town, done in the 8th of September. He had some concerns about the propriety of our charge for the petition rock for Austin Asherle. I spoke to Mr. Asherle yesterday. He just had a few questions that I was able to answer. I'm not certain of the relationship of Mr. Wagner to the Asherles or to that piece of road. Just some questions about a rock petition, how it goes. Mr. Asherle came to us after he had bought the part of the Jensen Trust Farms and was seeking to rock it because he wanted to put a house out there. So after some months, we got around to it, got that done. It's been rocked.
So did Austin indicate any uncomfortableness? I mean, Mr. Wagner was suggesting that the rock was too high priced, or?
No, he just wondered why we rocked this little in-between part.
Oh, okay. And Mr. Asherle didn't share that concern?
Well, he had wondered if he should have attempted to solicit donations from his neighbors, which he didn't.
So what's Rich concerned about? Because we rocked the rest of the road,
Right.
that we shouldn't have charged cost.
Correct.
Is what he thought.
That's what he thought. I mean, we negotiated in good faith with Austin. He didn't seem hesitant to sign the petition, which had the amount of the cost on it.
As I recall, when we had the petition from Austin, there was a Mellencamp petition at the same time.
Correct.
And that job was completed as well, correct?
Yes.
So, I know I read the email, but I can't remember exactly what Mr. Wagner's suggested remedy was, what he was asking us to do.
Oh, to send the money back to Asherle.
I don't think he can do that. He said with us.
I mean, there's a method to improve roads, and he used it. So he got done what he intended to get done.
And there's a resolution in our books from 2011 or 2012 dealing with how rock petitions are handled, and that was all followed to the letter of the law.
Correct.
So.
Well, actually, by rocking the rest of the road, it's going to be a benefit.
True.
He can
Go out either way. The people from the north can drive through that mile now during inclement weather. So it's a benefit to the road and to the neighborhood. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Oh, JD, one thing I want to get in public record, I'm sorry. And you and I talked briefly about it, but in regard to J55, there was some supposedly some misinformation about the grinding of J55 and what would be replaced at some point. And apparently it was understood by a taxpayer that one of our road crew members stated we were going to re-asphalt back as far north.
We're not gonna asphalt anywhere down there at this time.
At this time, until we get done with the wind turbines in Taylor County.
Well, right now it's a seal coat road. We intend, you know, at some future time, we have from Braddyville or east around the curve toward the quarry is under contract to base stabilize and put an auto seal on. But we will not do that this fall. We may, with proper discussion in this forum, grind some of the east part of J55 near the Taylor County line and several miles west, where the road is grossly misshapen and it's hard to travel on. We would improve it in such a manner as we did last year, where we grind it up, reshape it, and rock it. And then if and when the wind farms continue to tear up the roads in southeast Page County, and when that's complete, then we'll restore that to a hard service road.
Okay. Per our road use agreement.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
There's some confusion on what was going to be done eventually on that trip.
Sure.
All righty. You guys didn't have any questions?
I haven't had any calls.
Okay. All right. Before we get to our 9 o'clock, he mentioned the NRCS. Before we leave today, we need to pick a date or two to send to Donna for Pierce Creek and look at our calendar so we get that scheduled in the next couple of weeks. So,
On a rainy day.
on a rainy day. Okay. All right, Ryan, we're a minute early, but come on up, please.
Good morning. I want to thank you for allowing me some time on the agenda today, and I come before you respectfully with questions and concerns on the recent press release that was in the Clarinda Herald, September 22nd, 2020. The newspaper article published September 22nd was very alarming to me as a citizen that has been attending meetings and researching this subject. This is why I'm standing before you this morning. The opening, I'm not going to read the entire article, but I've got some things highlighted here. The opening statement to this article reads, the members of the Page County Board of Supervisors have been walking a fine line between regulating a potential new industry and protecting the property rights of citizens within the county. Please let this sink in as I read this again. Protecting the property rights of citizens of the county. And yet as a non-participant, this is where I start, as a non-participant, I am forced to give up the rights on my own property because of the current zoning and how close they can be to my property line, restricts the use of my property, and I did not sign up for it. Supervisor Armstrong quoted, once companies started contacting farmers about land use, the first thing that came to mind were horror stories in the counties where there were no wind regulations. We wanted to eliminate that risk as much as possible for our county. My question to Alan is, what are some of the horror stories that you had heard? Some of the counties that didn't have maybe a wind ordinance. What were you in reference to?
Decommissioning
Okay.
issues.
Okay. Page County had regulations through the 1997 zoning ordinance. And I do have the 97 ordinance here printed off through the zoning board. you had said that there was no regulation, and I find that hard to believe when the 97 zoning ordinance had actually some rules in there in regard to industrial or non-agriculture. The ordinance in October 2019, the details included the ordinance. There was a distance towers must be from other structures known as setbacks, a maximum sound level a turbine may produce. Again, back to the 97 ordinance. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't this have better protection than what you guys are kind of glorifying yourself on the current ordinance in regard to noise level? Because here, the number one on section 10-3, it says noise from any assembling or manufacturing process shall be inaudible 200 feet from the industrial district boundary. To me, that gives more protection than the current ordinance that seemed to me has opened up the door to the wind industry. Armstrong was quoted saying, "We have a lot more structure now and have given future supervisors, as the world changes, a base to use and decide what they need to change in the future." Again, we had some already back in the 97 ordinance, and what more structure, I guess, are you giving us now other than maybe some decommissioning clauses? With towers standing as tall as 300 feet tall, Morris said. This is very alarming to me. This is how tall they were 5 years ago. As we know, the new ones are 400 to 600 foot tall. As leaders of our county, and you going on record saying that, you know, standing as tall as 300 feet tall, we know that that's not the case anymore. You know, where are they building 300 foot tall wind turbines anymore? To me, that's outdated information. And you've accused some other citizens of coming to you guys with some outdated information, and yet here in the paper, you're quoted at being only 300 foot tall, and we know they're 400 to 600 foot tall. To me, you guys, I mean, you don't even have a clue how tall these things are going to be. I want this part on the record. How many of you have actually interviewed and spent a considerable amount of time with some residents that live within 1,500 feet of a wind turbine? Have you, John?
Yes,
You spent some time down there with them? Okay. Because, have you, Chuck?
Yeah, we define considerable amount of time.
Well, actually pulling onto their place, you know, not just pulling over alongside the road, taking 15 minutes and walking around them. Actually went to their place, had a chance to visit them on maybe a normal day and a not so normal day. You have as well?
I've talked with residents. I'm not sure that I've gone to the same place twice on a different wind day. I've not done that.
Okay, and Alan?
I visited the farm, but I've not been to a residence, no.
Just because here just a couple of weeks ago or in the past, something must have changed between Chuck and John within the last couple of weeks, because you guys are quoted saying that you have not had an opportunity to go spend any time. So I guess I would maybe like a name and a phone number of the residents that you guys have went and talked to and spent some time on, so I can, you know, maybe just verify it, because this is an issue that's, you know, 50, 60 years down the road going to be affect the citizens. So I just want to make sure you guys are spending, you know, the time. So I don't know, can you give me who you talk to, John?
I pulled in and listened to them, roll down the windows. They don't really like you pulling up in those driveways. You know, just anybody.
Well, no, I mean, we've given you name of residents that, you know, are open to you guys coming down there, and you guys.
I was up in Carroll County before we did that up, and before they were even wind turbines around here, and I talked to farmers up there, and weather, the noise.
And do you know how far their house was from an active wind turbine? Their actual residence?
It was less than 1,500 people. And they said they had some flicker, there was one to the east of the house.
Okay.
And that's why it stopped.
Okay.
And they said they'd have to close their shade, you know, because it was so close.
There was no noise, bother?
The noise didn't bother them. It was more the flicker.
Okay, and Chuck, do you know who you would?
Yeah, I most certainly do, and if you'd like to call them, you can call. I'll provide you that information. I don't want to put them on public record, but I will.
You bet. No, understandable. So like I said, I just find it alarming, you know, that you guys say now that you've done it, and then here just a couple weeks ago, you said that you hadn't had the opportunity to actually spend some time other than pull off alongside the road, and that to me is not a very good judgment of that. The ordinance also establishes a maximum, this is back from your guys' article, the ordinance also establishes a maximum noise level of 55 decibels that can be created by a turbine. This is measured from a non-participant's residence. Let me again redirect you to the 97 zoning ordinance. I'm going to read this again. 10.3, number 1, noise from any assembling or manufacturing process shall be inaudible 200 feet from the industrial district boundary. Again, we had more protection prior to your guys' ordinance, in my opinion. Couple questions here. Who will be determining the noise, that the noise level is within the guidelines?
Our zoning commission will be handling that if there's a violation with the code.
So someone from our zoning will go out, and if I have an issue at my house, one of their members will come out and measure the decibel reading?
Yes, that's how, I mean, we've not been there yet. So that process has probably not been well defined, but yes, there will be a process for.
I mean, once they're up.
If you question that this is in violation of the code of 55 decibels, then there will be a process for which to challenge that claim.
Okay. But we don't have anybody established yet, you know, who.
No, we don't have any wind turbines yet.
Okay. What'll be done, you know, if they're not within these guidelines? You know, is it they required to shut that wind turbine off,
That's my
decommission it?
understanding, but again, we're talking detail that I can't at this moment give you an answer to that process.
Well, to me, it needs to be addressed before the issue arises.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
And it will be.
before they're built, then it's too late. Armstrong said he visited a wind farm. I could hear a little bit of humming noise. I didn't find it disturbing, Armstrong said. Herzberg's quoted, I've never noticed a noise being that loud. They make a kind of swishing sound, but it's not near as bad as a grain bin dryers. They're a lot louder than turbines, and people get used to it. The three of you have shut several citizens down standing at this podium and at these public meetings because their statements you said were based on emotion. But is this not your emotion quoted in this newspaper article? Grain dryer in 65 days a year. Well, I know they're louder.
I can hear them a mile away.
Can you shut that grain dryer off? Is it running 365 days a year? That was what I had stated there. It usually in the fall for a couple, 3 weeks, not 365 days a year.
So Ryan, out of respect for constraints of time, your next point, please.
You know, shouldn't your emotions as supervisors be left out of this subject as your job is to lead and protect the citizens of this county. However, you're going on again in your article, rather than being swayed by the emotions surrounding this topic, the members of the Page County Board of Supervisors agree the residents need to weigh both positive and the negative of wind energy to make an informed decision. There are a lot of experts out there who have Armstrong quoted here, gathered a lot of data on risk, danger, how wind energy works, impact on animal. The data is out there and presentable, Armstrong said. We have that information to share with the general public. I think it's important people hear both sides of the story, both positive and negative. Morris has gone on, quoted Herzberg as well, kind of saying the same things. Right here, the three of you are saying that we need information from both sides on the subject. If you guys are truly impartial, don't you think you need both sides of the issue, professionals from both sides of the issues need to be presented or present their information to the Board of Supervisors? Because it's my understanding, or you've been in that article and said that, because I know more than one of you have attended Power Up Iowa meetings, you know, and as leaders of the county, again, you say you're taking a neutral side. My question is, why are you bringing in only the pro-wind side and citizens that are hand-picked that live in a wind-producing county to speak?
We don't have any wind-producing residents in Page County, okay? If we had somebody with wind experience in Page County, we would draw their expertise on the benefits of wind, but we don't know the benefits or the detriments of wind at this point.
What do you mean they have to be from Page County?
Well, you were suggesting, why aren't we bringing in people from Page County to talk about the benefits?
No, I said, why aren't you bringing in, if I read that, I said, why aren't you from, I said, that live in a wind producing county. I said, why are you only bringing in the pro-wind side and citizens that are hand-picked that live in a wind-producing county to speak?
Well, we've got next Tuesday, there will be a forum at 2 p.m.
Okay.
And it'll be a Zoom forum. It'll be available not only live at 2 o'clock, but also on our YouTube channel, be available later in the day, from a number of people that have experience with wind. The guest list will be announced here within the next 24 hours.
Who has chosen the people to speak? Was it influenced by any of, you know, Power Up Iowa, any of Chuck Grassley's team?
We've reached out to Senator Grassley's team. We've reached out to Governor Reynolds' team to help us with some people in the state of Iowa who have experience with wind. Who are producing wind that will tell the other side of the wind story.
What do you mean?
Because there truly are two sides.
What do you mean the other side?
Well, all we've heard at this point, Ryan, and in fairness, your opposition group has been very.
Wait a minute, Chuck. My group is not out there writing law. You guys are supposed to be impartial.
Excuse me. Let me finish my statement. Your group has held a public meeting at Whitlam Hall, which I attended, and got criticized because I wasn't listening right. And then 3 or 4 days later, we had 75 people who testified over a 2-hour period about their concerns of wind. Yesterday, I attended a concerned wind meeting. You were there, your wife was there, Mr. Holmes was there. In Adams County, there were some citizens who were concerned. There were about 25 people at that meeting who outlined why they don't care for wind or why they object to wind. And I listened to that. I've not heard, and this board and our community has heard that. They have not heard from the economic development side or from counties that are successfully producing wind, of which 61 counties in Iowa are producing wind. It's a $90 billion a year business. And so we're going to hear that side. It will conflict with some of what we've heard, and I understand that. But some of what we've heard is based on emotion. Some of what we've heard is based on fact. Some of it is based on misinformation.
My point to this is you guys are bringing in your pro-wind side. As leaders of this county, to be neutral and unbiased, you should have to bring the other side in as well. You did attend the meeting. Ellen and John did not attend the meeting. And when the three of you were publicly asked, John stated that it would be a quorum if all three of you attended. And I just advise you guys to look up Iowa Law Chapter 21, which talks about quorum. And if you read Iowa Law Chapter 21, all three of you could have been in attendance and it not been considered a quorum. I've reached out to the state auditor and I got a lot of this information. I had some of this. But I guess, again, our group and the group that was here was a publicly organized group, not organized by you. And again, you guys say you're not being biased and picking a side, but yet you're not willing to bring in the opposing side to the pro-wind and listen to both sides. To me, like I said, you'll be all ears listening there. I know more than one of you have attended Power Up Iowa meetings, which is pro-wind. And a couple of you have attended our meetings, which are anti-wind. So why do you need to bring in them? You've already said you've heard enough from us. Well, you've heard enough from the pro-wind guys already through Power Up Iowa and different things. So what is the need for that?
Power Up Iowa luncheon, Ryan.
Okay.
One, and it lasted 45 minutes. We've had 2 meetings in the courtroom downstairs when the ordinance was read, where a lot of the oppositional points were pointed out on 2 different meetings. You requested the meeting in March. It didn't happen because of COVID. Then the public meeting out at Wibham Hall, followed by 2 hours here. Your voice is being heard.
The public meeting that, my whole point is, that was put on by a public group, a group of concerned citizens. My group is not the group writing law, so how do you know that we're not? You need to have as equally professional people that are on the other side of the wind that you are. To me, you're running this county with complete blinders and only bringing in the pro because you've opened the door up to wind. On October 19th, 2019, when the ordinance was signed and put into place, you had a courtroom full of people that opposed you guys signing it, but yet you went ahead and passed it on through, saying that you guys are giving us more protection, that the door was wide open, when we're finding out that the door was shut to wind clear back in 1997 with the current zoning. And you said you wrote that yesterday, Chuck, up in Adams County, and that supersedes the old 97 zoning, which had protection. When it talks about unusual lights, the flicker that John had said when he talked to those farmers, it says right here in number 4, unusual light produced or necessary to any use shall not be noticeable at the boundary line of the lot involved. So noise and flicker were protected in the 97 zoning ordinance. The one that you guys signed in October 2019 has opened the door to wind. You have given us less protection, and you guys sit here and glorify yourself and lie to the public how well they're protected with this ordinance when the 97 zoning ordinance had all kinds of protection. And I just ask you, to me, you're not being fair to the citizens by just bringing in pro-wind. That is something organized by you guys.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you showing up and making your comments now.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jess, are you on the line for our COVID update?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, so in the county, we've had 2,876 individuals tested. We have 257 positive with 215 recovered. Our county positivity rate right now is 23.5%. We're currently dealing with an outbreak at the prison here in Clarinda. We have 33 inmates who have tested positive out there, and the state is sending in a strike team this week to come in and do some mass testing. So we're waiting on those results and for that to happen. We've been meeting with the schools as far as where our rating is and what we need to do in regards to going to remote learning. We feel at this point the school districts aren't there. We're fully aware that our positivity rating is 23.5, but if you factor in the prison, you know, those inmates have nothing to do with our schooling, so we are not even close to discussing having to go to remote learning yet in the majority of the schools in the county. So that's pretty good. Other than that, that's kind of what we've got going on, just keeping an eye on the prison. We did have one school that did choose to go to remote learning, so they're doing that for 2 weeks, and then they'll open back up. And you guys have any questions for me?
Have you found all the light switches in your new office yet?
We're still learning. You should see it. It's kind of a mess over here.
I came to see you yesterday, and it was too messy to hang around. I'm sorry I didn't help you clean up.
Well, hey,
But congratulations yesterday, and I know it's going to take a while before you invite a lot of people in to look, but yesterday you and the EMA office and safety office all occupied for the first time the annex, and we're really excited about you'll now have real space to serve the public, and thanks for all that you've had. You've had a tough week with all these cases and the move, and the move didn't go very smooth, guys. We had some issues with folks that were going to help them move. It didn't work out quite like we had hoped, so Jess spent all weekend moving boxes with her husband. But thank you, and appreciate the update this morning.
Yep.
All right. Before we get to the minutes, I see this note of the NRCS Pierce Creek. You guys want to look at your calendar and give me some ideas? I know you're in the middle of farming, John. And is it really, we really need to find a rainy day?
No, I can take time off, I'll be on board.
The 13th is out, correct? Because of that Zoom?
Yes, Tuesday the 13th is out. In fact, could we have our meeting at 1 o'clock, our regular board meeting at 1 or 12:30, and then go on into that 2 o'clock panel discussion? Okay. So it'll be agenda dependent. If we have a light agenda like we did today, we'll start at 1. If we have a heavier agenda, we'll start at 12:30. If that's agreeable with everybody.
That'll be fine with me.
Next Tuesday.
The WIN meeting's going to be at 2.
Next week I have I don't think any issues any day
Okay.
at this time.
You
So
want to do it on Tuesday or
No, I don't,
any day?
well,
probably not on Tuesday with the afternoon board meeting, because it'll take us probably 4 hours to complete. As I remember from the last time, it was a 4.5 hour day.
That'd be close.
And if you want to maybe, since we got a longer day Tuesday, maybe give them a date, one date next week and a couple dates the following week.
You might talk with her if they get some harvest done, that would help.
Okay,
Because we could drive in instead of,
okay, that would help.
we could get to the sites.
the following week I'm gone Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay,
That's the week of the 22nd or 21st.
okay. Second here.
This is Donna Merritt.
Yeah.
Donna Merritt.
Yeah, Donna. So I told her I'd try to give her a call. So you're going the 21st, 2nd and 3rd, okay?
You're gonna go up to that next week, I've got an election next week.
Oh, yeah. So we really should try to get it. I don't know. if
Next week.
We should.
Yeah.
So let's give her
Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday of next week, 14th and 15th.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Wednesday, 14th, Thursday. Okay, I'll shoot you out.
Is that third Wednesday?
Yes, you have a
Juvenile detention.
juvenile detention, so Wednesday won't work.
No.
So we're really looking at Thursdays.
Monday at this,
Or Monday?
well, now they're not talking rain now on Monday either, so they were, but. Monday or Wednesday?
Well, Wednesday won't work.
Not Monday or Thursday, I mean.
Monday or Thursday? Okay? Sounds good. What's that?
They're closed on Monday because of the Columbus Day.
Oh, okay. Well, that won't work. We'll shoot her Thursday.
Yeah, give her Thursday.
Okay. Well, we'll see if Thursday's possible. I think they're ready to go. We're really late.
By then, if it stays dry, most fields should be emptied out, a lot of them will be. Won't they?
The beans will.
Yeah,
Corn, and
yeah. They said they're farther ahead this year than they've been for a long time on corn.
So Thursday, October 15th. I'll shoot her that date. If that's impossible, we'll just have to, because really then, what you're telling me, Melissa, is we get into that window of the 19th through election, you don't have any resources to send with us, correct?
Well, I mean, it's gonna create a challenge in my office. The closer it gets in the year, we get
Right.
more inundated.
Okay. Well, let me suggest 15, see if we can get that.
well, one of you have to go because we'll be split up.
That's true, because we're not together.
I mean, you don't ride together and chat.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, we go in separate vehicles, we get split up in 3 teams, because it's a pretty wide area that, huh? Okay. So if you can check on that first thing before I reach out to Donna, okay, that'd be great. Okay, everybody have a chance to read the minutes from last week?
We already voted on this.
You did last week, okay, so, well, that's good.
We're on
I
that.
was going with double page.
You guys, wow, you're pretty efficient, about time
I know. that's
you
how
improve
we did
things,
something
yeah,
right.
yeah, no kidding. All right, have a motion, I think that was, wait a second. Okay, the 2 o'clock meeting, we'll figure out agenda-wise. So no, I think we're done. Motion to adjourn.
Well, or do you want to go through minutes today? Oh, okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, very good.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 They're not very clear.
What? So, we have some people on the line yet. Could you hear okay on the line? Oh, you did? Okay, great. All right. Thanks for joining us. Get